So the first question we have for you, Shylette, is who is Shylette, the raw, authentic Shylette, without her achievements and rewards?
Okay. Hi everyone. Okay, so Shylette is a God-fearing young woman who believes in purpose and serving God above everything. And I would say she's very ambitious and curious about achieving every goal that she puts her mind to.
Next, you're a girl from Binga, right? Tell us about your childhood and experience in Binga. What part has your background played in who you are today?
Okay. I stayed in Binga my first 10 years of life, and I would say the experience wasn't so good, having to walk about 6 kilometers to school, having to carry nothing to school, but you just have to go to school because you have a vision that you want to fulfill. Of course, I wouldn't say I knew what I wanted to do when I was like 10 years old, but I knew I had somewhere to go, so that's why I was really focused on going to school and achieving what I wanted to achieve.
Yes. And what part did your background play in who you are today?
My background was the foundation of who I am today, because I would say that I had the vision because of my background. I told myself that I could be from Binga, I could be a Tonga, but that doesn't define me, so I have to change the narrative. If I would say I am the first female to do medicine in Binga, that is confirmed. And so really coming from Binga, it's not like of course it's a challenge, but for me it's a gift.
Yes. Wow, okay. And you call yourself a Tonga princess. Why and what is a Tonga princess?
Well, I believe God chose me from my family. They call me the Joseph of the family. And so that is the princess part. And the Tonga, of course, you know my tribe is Tonga. So
Alright,
that's what Tonga is.
Alright. At the root of every action is a motive, right? Or a purpose. Why medicine? Why did you choose medicine as your field of study and career path?
Okay. So I'd say most people, when they get 20 points, 15 points, they think of going into medicine. I think that's why most people do medicine. Agree? Yes. But the real reason for me to do medicine was because of how I got to see my dad getting sick for like a year. He was bedridden for a year, and I got to experience all that. And the day he passed on, it was only me and him. So I told myself from that time onwards that, you know what, I'm not going to experience this from any of my family members again. And so I chose to do medicine, and of course the points counted, and yeah.
All right, powerful. So next, the next question is, what kind of mental state should one be in before taking up a medicine degree?
Well, I'll say that they should be in the field because they want to save lives, not because of the money. You know, when you hear of some young people doing it, they do it for the money, but I'll say there's no money right now in the field. So if one is to do medicine, they should be sure why they are doing medicine, because at the end of the day, why you're doing medicine is because you want to save lives, not because you want the title or because you want the money. You should be sure why you're doing medicine and agree with yourself that I'm in this for the money, because there's a quote by Robin Sharma who says that we do not dare because things are difficult. Rather, we dare things are difficult because we dare. Right? So that you are doing it because it's challenging and you want to achieve something after that. So if you just go in there thinking medicine is just cakes, you will suffer depression. Yeah.
That's where raw sheer passion kicks in. All right. Now, still on medicine, you have earned a number of awards in recognition of your work. They include the COVID-19 Frontline Heroine Award, presented by the Ignite Youth Organization. Tell us about the work you were involved in during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, so in 2021, in August, I became part of Doctors and Nurses on a Mission as a volunteer. So from the time on, I would attend outreaches, medical outreaches they had, and I would help with consultation, with observations and all, like some of the things that they do. So that's what I would do, and most of the times I would also help out in what do you call it? In charity work during the COVID period. It wasn't really medical assistant, but it was linked to that.
All right. And, why did you choose to focus on philanthropic work of medicine assistance to marginalized communities? Yeah.
Okay, so my work is not really medical assistant, but I volunteer in medical assistant-based organizations. So my work is just charity where I get to help people in marginalized communities with foodstuff, stationery, and clothes. Yes, so it's not really medical based.
So Shylette, has there been a time you've questioned your career choice, and how did you get back on track?
I've questioned my career choice a number of times. There were days when I thought maybe, for instance, if we had an exam, let's say maybe tomorrow, I'll feel like, well, am I really understanding what I'm reading? Is this worth it, or I should just quit, you know? So I've had those moments where I would even cry. And I'm like, God, is this what you wanted? Or I am doing this because I had the point that they wanted? Or I don't know, you know? So I question that a lot of times. But at the end of the day, I'll tell myself, well, if God approved for me to be in this field, then this is what he wants. And if he put me in this field, then he's going to get me out of it. And he's going to help me pursue this career.
Wow. All right. And as an award-winning leader, what do you think qualifies one to be called a leader?
Okay, so I can touch on two things. First of all, I think a leader should be a good listener. As a leader, you work with people in different fields. It might be an organization or anything, but you work with people. So at the end of the day, you have to listen to their ideas, you have to listen to what they bring to the table, not just you being listened to, because at the end of the day, we are serving people, not us being put on the platform. And number two, a good leader should not be in leadership because of popularity. What I've noticed that with young people or young leaders nowadays, they are doing it for the media, they are doing it for the pictures, and not really to lead, but to do it for the pictures, and that's not a good thing.
And still on leadership and your work, what is the Young People for Jesus organization, and why did you start it?
Okay, I'll answer the second part of the question. I didn't start it, so yeah, it was just a WhatsApp group where in 2018, we agreed with a few young people just to share the word of God through the WhatsApp platform, because it was a long holiday of advanced level, so we had to do something just to share the word of God. So we created a group. It was about, I think, 9 people. Yeah. So Young People for Jesus, basically, it's a group where we have, it's aimed at nurturing and developing young people who are imaged towards the wisdom of God. So it's basically just taking all the young people from different denominations and helping them achieve one goal, which is serving God. And that's the main objective. And the other thing that we do a lot of charity work in marginalized areas, and also mostly in Bulawayo.
Alright, and how can you be part of that group?
I think you just have to apply. But we take a few people because I've realized that if we have more people, like in the main organization, it's very difficult to deal with such people because it's a church-based organization, Christian-based. So if you have a lot of people, sometimes it's difficult when you want to make decisions. Some people won't be really agreeing with that, and it's very difficult to control a large crowd. So we usually have 25 people in the main group.
Okay, all right. And what has been one of your biggest challenges as a leader?
I'd say being a people pleaser. Yeah, I am a people pleaser, and it has affected me in a lot of ways, in the way I talk to young people, in the way I deal with people, because there are some young people who would be part of the organization and they feel like they no longer serve the purpose of the organization. Now they want to leave. But I go to them, I beg them, is there anything wrong that we did? Do you want us to change this? If we change this, are you gonna stay? You know, such things. And most of the times, if we remain with those people in that organization who don't serve the purpose, we end up not achieving anything at the end of the day. So that has really affected me in the leadership. Yeah.
All right. And Shylette, you have an amazing CV and I'm sure many responsibilities as well. And from that, how do you make room to continue to learn while leading and growing?
Okay, well, about my CV, it doesn't really define me or give me like a tight schedule. I always create time for growth. I attend a lot of leadership seminars. I do a lot of online programs, and mostly that helps me grow is reading books. I read a lot of books, and they help me grow both in leadership and also in personal life.
And you are a pro-purpose young lady. What does purpose mean to you?
Okay, so I will start with a quote from Miles Monroe, which says that the greatest tragedy is not death, but a life without a purpose. And for me, purpose is your why you were born, why you were created, why God put you in this season, in this generation. So that's purpose for me.
Right. Yes. And how did you find yours?
I think I was just ambitious about. Okay, so here's the thing. I love giving, I love serving people, and through that I got to realize that when I give, I get so much satisfaction after that. And I had to do more of charity work, and I realized, well, this is where God wants me to be, or this is where God is directing me to be. So we had to create that branch in Young People for Jesus because of the drive and the passion that I had. And other things that I do apart from that, I'm also passionate about leadership, and it's because I've been involved in a lot of leadership programs, and they also opened the way for me to see that this is the purpose for me as well.
Okay, and looking at what you're doing now, the opportunity you've had to do medicine and all of that, have you always had the resources and opportunities to be where you are today?
No. Okay, let me start here. Last year, 2021, I had a challenge where I couldn't afford tuition, even accommodation fee, because my guidance didn't have financial problems. So I had to seek for help somewhere. And the way I got help, I think a few people could have seen the interview, because some young people contacted me like, is that you? But the thing is, I had to do an interview for me to get an assistance. I was really ashamed of that, but I needed help, so I just had to do it. And a lot of people reached out to me because of what I shared, the vision that I had, and all the mission and all the things that I wanted to do after finishing school, and they did help me. So I can say I have the opportunities and the resources, but from The Alchemist, there's a quote that says, if you want anything, the world conspires in helping you achieving it. And I would rephrase it and say, if you want anything, God will help you achieve it.
Yes.
And God did help me achieve and brought people, destiny helpers, to help me.
Amazing. Considering your background and where you are now, there are two opposites. And when did you decide that you wanted to be someone of value or do something that mattered in the world? Was it a decision or it was a process?
It was both, really. Because growing up, I had low self-esteem. I thought I was not qualified for any opportunity or anything, right? So I would never participate in class or anyway. I was never chosen for leadership, and people thought I was doing leadership or public speaking at school, but I never did that. Like I started doing that, I think 2021. That was a turning point for me. So I would say there was a decision that I made after the process, after doing a few programs, leadership programs online during the COVID period, and I told myself, you know what? I think there's so much to me, there's so much purpose in me that I've been missing out for years, and it's time for me to take this opportunity and to do these things. I will sit back and not act on it, but I can still act on it and achieve something, because a life without a purpose, it's literally nothing. And at the end of the day, what I usually say is, God will ask you at some point and say, I gave you these talents and gifts, you didn't use them. And if I sit on them, will I be able to answer to that? So I just had to act, and that was the decision.
But what pushed you to then do even a single course or do a single program or attend something? What made you do that? What drove you to do that?
Okay, so I'll start with, I think it was 2020 when I attended the first edition of Ignite Youth Awards. I met young people there. I did attend, but I knew I was not going to win, but I knew I was going to meet amazing people who were going to push me. So that was a turning point for me, because I met young people who reached out to me, we collaborated, and they gave me these opportunities, links on what to try and what to look out for and what opportunities to take up.
All right, okay, I understand. And what would your personal pinnacle of success look like when you've made it?
That's very difficult to answer. But I've always wanted to build an orphanage. So for me, if I get to do that, I think that would be a success for me.
What would you tell 10-year-old Shylette and 40-year-old Shylette right now? Okay,
10-year-old, I would say you can do anything that you put your mind to, only if you believe that you can do it. And a 40-year-old, I would say, well, they say life begins at 40, so you can achieve anything even if you're 40.
Yeah. All right. And what's your heartfelt desire for your generation?
I would say, in everything that you do, you should seek God, because when I talk about mental health, advocacy, inspiration, motivation, stuff like that. But if you don't have God, all this thing is just done in vain. So in whatever you do, make sure you put God first. Because a lot of people, or a lot of us as young people, we are trying to change the Bible to fit the norm that we are in right now. And the Bible is not ever going to change. Not even a single mark, not even a single word or anything. It's going to remain the same. So as we seek whatever we are seeking, as we are seeking opportunities, as we are doing whatever we are doing in this generation, make sure that you don't forget to seek God.
And lastly, if you could just shout out to 2 young people in Zimbabwe that you think are making a positive impact.
Okay, firstly, I'll just shout out to groups of people. Young people who are doing charity work. You are doing amazing work. God is seeing that and He will reward you. Make sure you continue doing that. And also those who are seeking to grow in this leadership field, keep going. Don't let social media fool you. Whatever is showing on social media, that's not you. Do whatever you are doing and you will get there.
Right. So we've come to the end of our interview with you. Thank you so much, Shylette. You're such a beautiful, bold, and hardworking young woman, and I believe you're destined for greatness. A round of applause, Shylette.